Let's take a look at these problematic sentences. Let's look at the first one. A book was written by a man named Shakespeare in the year of 1603, and it is titled Hamlet, and it is a classic play which I relate to because I am also a person who is haunted by my past due to it being a situation where my father died and I feel guilty. As I read that, you can hear how long and convoluted that sentence is. You can hear the words that are completely unnecessary in the sentence. Let's look at the sentence edited. A classic Renaissance play, Hamlet, was first published in a quarto edition in 1603 and tells the story of an entitled prince who is tormented by guilt. Period. The death of Hamlet's father haunts the young prince as he learns that blood is thicker than water. Period. Like Hamlet, when my own father died, I felt pangs of guilt for my childish behavior. Do you see how this long run-on sentence is now turned into 3 complete, concise, clear sentences? Let's look at the next one. I decided to write this essay on the book that I selected from the list due to me being interested in tragedy, and so the play by the name of Hamlet was the one I decided to write about because it was written by Shakespeare and has the themes of blood is thicker than water. Okay, so you can hear when I read that out loud, and I again encourage you to read your content out loud so that you can pick up those problems. So here's the fix for that sentence. As an avid fan of classical tragedy, I find the poetic justice of Hamlet compelling. We already talked about blood is thicker than water in the sentence before. Okay, let's look at the next one. Growing up, I decided that I was going to be mean to my father due to him not being able to constitute me going to the movies, and so I snuck out and went anyway. Him being sick with cancer, he then later died, and I felt like I wasn't such a good child after all, and I felt bad. Just when you hear me read it, by reading the sentence out loud, you can hear how convoluted it is, how many unnecessary words. So here's the fix for that sentence. As a rebellious teen, I raged against my father when he refused to let me run wild with my felonious friends. On the night I decided to sneak out to party with miscreants, my father died. The guilt I felt for the last words I spoke to my father remain with me to this day. Okay, do you see that? Okay, I know you do. All right, let's look at the next one. Here is a quote by Samantha Wright, who says that Hamlet, ... never met with consequences for his behavior, and that contributes to his guilt. And then there's this long citation, and then the period at the end of the sentence. Here's the fix. Theologian Samantha Wright delves into the immaturity of Hamlet by stressing that the prince, quote, never met with consequences for his behavior. And that contributed to his feelings of guilt. Now, I added feelings of so that the sentence makes sense. When I use these brackets, the reader knows that these are my own words that have been added to the quote so that the sentence reads fluidly. You'll notice that I end the quote, and I don't need to add this citation because I've already mentioned her name here. The reader knows that the reader can go to the Works Cited page and find the full quote for this person. And so in the essay, remember, our loyalty is to the reader. I don't want the reader to have to stop reading to read an entire long citation. If I had not used Samantha Wright's name here, then I would have just simply written education.edu and completed the quote there. Because the reader knows that the reader can go to the Works Cited and see the full citation. Now, if I have several quotes from education.edu, then I would want to put right/education.edu so that the reader then knows that we're looking for the edu citation that is about Samantha Wright. And finally, I make a claim. I say Hamlet is a spoiled and entitled young man. Okay, that's my idea. I don't need to cite that idea. What I need to follow that with is, first, what do I mean by spoiled? Second, what do I mean by entitled? Now, you might think, well, immediately I go to the dictionary and I use a dictionary definition and I write a whole bunch of words about the dictionary definition. I don't need to do that. I can look up the words spoiled and I can look up the word entitled. And when I look up the dictionary definition, I see words that I want to latch on to show an example from the actual text, from the play. I like the word indulgent and I like the word lenient. And so I'm going to look for quotes in the actual play itself where Hamlet is indulged, where he's treated with lenience, right? So this is what I'm going to use. Now, in my works cited, I will definitely cite this dictionary definition. And that way the reader can see where I came up with the full definition of the word. But in my essay, I will simply write, so for this, instead of relying on articles, I'm going to use actual examples from the script itself. Hamlet is a spoiled and entitled young man. Okay, so that's my statement, and now I have proving statements after that. I don't have to write, for example, or as stated above, or anything else. I'm just going to prove my point. In Act 1, Hamlet's mother indulges him. In Act 2, Gertrude okay, let's see. So I went back and changed that so that the examples are in the order of the play. Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4. Hamlet is a spoiled and entitled young man. In Act 2, Gertrude blames Hamlet's behavior on the grief of his father, on the grief he feels for his father. It is not other but the main, his father's death, and or hasty marriage. So this is where she's saying it's not his fault. He's just upset about his father and the fact that his father and I got married really quick. In Act 3, and this is part of the same paragraph, so we don't need a new paragraph because I'm proving that my statement is valid. In Act 3, Hamlet's mother indulges him by rewarding his selfish behavior by convincing him that his preoccupation with the ghost of his father is merely the coinage of your brain. And that's take that back there. And that's where the act, scene, line numbers. And in Act 4, Gertrude comforts her son by sweeping away his crass and abominable treatment of Ophelia as a mere trifle. These actions by an indulgent mother contribute to Hamlet's inability to take responsibility for his actions and learn to process grief. Okay, so all of these examples from the actual play itself explain that he is spoiled and entitled. I hope that these examples will help you learn how to write clear, crisp, concise sentences. Remember, the reader is your primary focus, and take out all unnecessary words.